I am going to recreate making something like this. These are the original photos that I started with, and then combining them and using the Liquify filter to make something like this. Here's another one that I made and going to recreate it starting at the very beginning. So I'm going to head up to File and I'm going to open up the first photo that I took of myself, and just got to find it here. I'll open up the straight on photo. And then the next one is a 3/4 view. This time I'm going to go to File and I'm going to place embedded and get the 3/4 view in place. I've tried it with a profile and it doesn't work quite as well. I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard and we're going to take a look in my layers. We got our 2 layers, and from here I'm going to get rid of the background. So I'm going to use the object selection tool. It's this one right here. If it's hidden for you, you might have to click and hold down on your tools over here until you find the object selection tool. From here, we're going to let the computer analyze it, and we're going to make that first selection just by clicking on it. And it missed part of my jacket there. So to add that in there, once it makes this selection, I'm just going to hold down Shift on my keyboard, and that's going to join this new object with the other one it selected. So that should work out okay. I'm going to do a keyboard shortcut now. Control and the letter J. Control J. If you look over in my layers, it took the selection and put the selection on its own layer. And that's what we're looking for. Okay, so that's good. We're going to do the same to our next photo. So I'll move this one over to the side, just using the move tool on the keyboard on the toolbar. I'm going to turn off the visibility on that layer, and we're going to work with the background layer, turn that visibility on, and I'm going to unlock it. Okay, same thing, getting my object selection tool, and there we go. It doesn't like the red in that image. So I'm going to add to it a little bit differently this time. I'm just going to use my lasso tool, and I'm going to hold down Shift on my keyboard, and I'm going to click and draw around the part that it missed. That will add it to it. Hold Shift again, draw around it, and there we go. So we got the whole selection, and then I'm going to do Control J, and it put that selection on its own layer directly above the other one. Can turn off the visibility on that one and turn it back on my other one, and we'll move it over to the side, try to get it lined up the same height. And I think I'm going to flip that around. I'm going to flip it so that one's on top, just because. And something like that. Okay, I'm going to make these black and white. Just goes together a little bit better. I'm going to use, I'm going to do an adjustment layer, and I'm going to make it black and white. I'm going to try hitting my auto one here, and that should be good. Okay, so go back to our layers here. That adjustment is affecting the layers underneath it, which is good. And I guess it's time to start using the Liquify tool. So we're going to go to the straight on one and head up to filter and go down to Liquify. It's going to open up a new window for us where we're going to be able to do our Liquify steps, hopefully. Try it again. Filter. Did it open it up behind there? Struggling. Right. Finally, we got our Liquify window to open up. And I made the brush size really big. You can adjust it over here. And the pressure pretty strong. And let's give it a try. So I'm going to click and drag it this direction. And I'm going to try to get my mouth just clicking and dragging and starting to mess with it. I'm going to try to get my eye too to kind of stretch out here. And just clicking and dragging and try to get it to a point that get my eye a little bit more. Something like that. And you can mess around with the size and the pressure of your brush, whatever works for your photo. Say okay. So there it is. Went over that direction. I'm going to change my layer to my other one. And we'll go back to filter Liquify. And we'll try it on the other one. Click and drag. Click and drag. Get my mouth to distort there. And each time I do this, it ends up looking a little bit different. Try to stretch that eye a little bit more. That'll do it. Okay. Try to see how they look together. I'm going to say okay. And I can go back and keep working each side. Another thing that I've done that seems to work is just flattening the image, getting rid of all the layers. So going up to layers and heading all the way down to flatten image. And it's just gonna combine them all. It adds a background if that's something you want. But now I have everything on one layer. So when I go back to filter and liquify, they're both going to be in there, which can be helpful to combine the two. It is leaving that white in there, which maybe I wanted to not have the white in there before I started this process. Or maybe even move them a little bit closer to each other. It's easy to take it too far pretty quick. Kind of swirl them together. Just letting go, clicking and holding down. Take it from here a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to click OK. There's what we've made so far. And like I said, each time I make it, looks a little different. I do like that these ones blend together a little bit more. And in this one, it did kind of swirl together. But so if I did it again, I would probably wait a little bit longer before combining all my layers, but that's kind of the process, using that Liquify filter to put your face look like it melting together.